Good morning, folks. Welcome to the Daily Dose of Dawn. It is April the 24th. I checked out the Hulk Hogan biopic. Just dropped on Netflix. Hulk Hogan, Real American. Now, I mean, the first thing I'm gonna say about this, like everybody always says whenever anybody does a documentary, oh my god, it was a hit piece, blah, blah, blah. I thought this was pretty fair to Hulk. Alright, and I say that, I'm a fucking fan of Hulk Hogan forever. Hulkamaniac forever, motherfucker. Don't give a fuck. Now, that being said, like, I did turn it on yesterday, and like I thought it'd be something to like kind of have on real quick, and I didn't realize, like, oh my god, it is like 4 friggin' hours. I made Chrissy watch the last hour with me. It was an all-day event getting through it, but it was entertaining. The first episode was where I got probably the most new information from. Like, I mean, I've probably watched every WWE behind-the-scenes DVD that guy's gotten released. Like, I've listened to tons of Conrad Thompson's podcasts, alright? I don't really run into new information too often. And this had new information. So, hey, that was good. And as I said, most of it was in the first episode. A lot of the stuff about Hulk Hogan's early career was pretty interesting. I mean, I was just like, oh god, when Bret Hart is brought in, of course, I'm like, yep, Bret Hart, he's gonna tell us exactly what he thinks, and it's gonna be very, very negative. And yeah, it was. I'm sure he enjoyed that. He's like, yeah, Hulk Hogan, I mean, he was just a big guy, and all he did was a bear hug. He would just grab the guy and, like, bear hug him. And I mean, you know what's funny? Like, those really old tapes of Hulk Hogan where he legit, like, wow. I mean, like most people, where, like, my memories are formed and very clear of Hogan, those memories start mostly around, like, well, okay, most people my age, I should say. Like, most of those memories start around, like, 92, 93. Like, I at best remember the Ultimate Warrior and being kind of pissed about him beating Hogan. Like, the really old stuff, I really ain't even seen most of that. Like, the pre-WWE. And Hulk just, man, he looked huge up against these guys. But again, by the time my memories of him had started, he'd already started losing fucking inches off his back from his leg drop. It's crazy that a guy who, as minimalist as he was in the ring, still ends up fucking himself up because with a fucked up move that he just did repetitively. But nah, and yeah, Bret Hart talked about, like, yeah, we wrestle all the time on the indie circuit when he first started. And then, of course, you know, it goes on with his story from WrestleMania 9, I think it was, there at the Toga Party. I believe it's episode 2, maybe 3, the next big shocker. How the hell did you get? Well, alright, I guess in another world you would ask, how the hell did you get the President of the fucking United States to appear in your fucking Hulk Hogan goddamn friggin' biography? But yeah, that's right. Donald Trump fucking shows up and gives an interview in the Oval Office about Hulk Hogan. I know, I mean, granted, yeah, like, they have a relationship that goes back to the 80s, and it's purely monetary. I'm sure they know each other personally, and they are great friends, blah, 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 all that. Still think it's pretty dumb to hold this shit against Hogan if you're doing that just because he supported Trump, but whatever. These were the last interviews and, like, his last moments, and it was good. I was glad to see that Hulk remain in such high spirits towards the end. No, and then of course episode 4 is like the wild stuff. If you hate Hogan, that's the one you're gonna want to watch, because that's where it's the reality show. And I mean, I didn't know all the details. I didn't realize he screwed one of his kids' friends, and that's why they're estranged. And then like his wife divorced him, and she ends up screwing a guy, like one of the son's friends, I guess, from high school. And I mean, this dude looked like a young Hulk Hogan. Part of me is like, good for her. The other part is like, god damn, bitch. And this is kind of why I feel like this was more favorable to Hulk than I expected. They did not play the N-word tape there, where he basically, okay, they don't play it on there, and yeah, I do think that favors him. All they say of it, they do talk about it, and they say, like, he's like, I used a word that I should not have, and there's going to be a racial component to this sex tape that got released. For those that don't know, basically in a private moment, talking about the possibility of his daughter dating a black man, he was like, I really wish she wouldn't do that, but I also figure if she does do it, I hope he's 8 feet tall, plays for the NBA, and it's worth $100 million. Now, he did not say it like that. He said a way that I'm not going to say, and in a very, very terrible way. But, I mean, his point is really, like, nothing most men would disagree with. I mean, women might find it horrent. Oh, I bet you could find some mothers that would agree with it, too. We saw the Real American Beer Tour that, yours truly got to meet him on. Oh, my God, it was so awesome. I feel like Hulk blessed me and made me part godlike when he touched my hand. It was great. YOLO, man. Go meet that fucking hero of yours. Before her, you never know when they might go into surgery and die. Rest in peace, Hulk. Thank you for the memories. Fuck yeah, man. And anybody who wants to hate on me for still liking Hulk Hogan, fuck you. That's all I got to say to that. I could honestly kind of go on about a lot of things about that. I mean, let's face it, like, hey, what can I say? Fucking every goddamn thing from my childhood is racist. It really is. Like, I mean, can you imagine if somebody made the Power Rangers today with their fucking color-coded racism? But back in the 90s, that was woke. That's why, like, people my age don't understand that the 90s stuff, like, was woke. We're just like, hey, where's the color-coded racism? I don't fucking know. But yeah, one other thing I wanted to point out, man, about that Hulk Hogan biopic, man. Damn, Jesse Ventura looks terrible. He looks like he's been dead for like 3 years. He's been a zombie for 3 years, but he's been super lucky about not losing any appendages. But his skin is still rotting away. Hacksaw Jim Duggan, though, on the other hand, he looked pretty good. He appeared to still be in good health and in good graces with Hulk at the end. A little surprising. I always kind of would have had him figured as, like, a crazy drinker or something that would look terrible in old age. And long-time fans of this show will remember my non-award-winning, critically ignored miniseries Mansplaining the Handmaid's Tale. And of course, now comes the spin-off, Testicles Talk The Testaments. Episode 5 has dropped, and I just watched it. And now, not gonna lie, I am starting to kind of question, I'm gonna finish out season 1, but at this point, I'm kind of starting to question, am I gonna go beyond season 1? We'll see. But, yeah, so this episode, it was another crazy ceremony. They're going to prom. They mentioned something like, yeah, so you hope to be matched up with somebody age appropriate, but, yeah, who gets the ones everybody wants, the powerful. And they're all old, and so there's this just creepy fucking dance. All the old men go, and it's creepy and disturbing. At this point, we do get a little bit more of Aunt Lydia showing that she's softened up and she's protecting the girls. She's like, hey, you know, whatever, I don't give a shit what you commanders do, but you ain't getting my girls drunk. I ain't caught the guy's name yet. Apparently the head of the commanders there, she tells him, like, yo, I control the matching, so do the fuck what I say. Of course, Becca and Agnes are the two top choices for all the dirty-ass old men who... Why are they single anyways? I mean, Gilead's been going at it for a while. Why are there, like, you know, all these old-ass men? But whatever, okay? And seriously, you're like an old dude and you want to go to this fucking high school prom shit? What the fuck is wrong with you? That's the shit that I don't buy it. I don't buy that men in this massive amount would be down with this. So Becca ends up getting pretty fucking hammered and confides in Daisy. In not so many words, that yeah, she's most likely a lesbian, a gender traitor, and in love with Agnes. At least that's my theory from her saying, you know, like, Daisy's like, Agnes loves you, and she's all like, not the way I love her. So, yeah, probably. Oh, then Agnes goes into a creepy interview with a with the commander inside there and a bunch of commanders on a TV screen, and gets to talk about how she would fulfill her wifely duties if married. So Vidala gets ripped a new one by Lydia, like, hey, a bunch of these girls been drunk. I seen them. So Vidala rips him a new one, only be interrupted by the girl whose name I have not caught yet, letting her know she got her period too. So I guess that's Blessed Day or some fucking shit, man. I'm not gonna lie, sometimes the show's just gross. It really is. So Agnes gets taken home by her father there, Commander Mackenzie, and she is talking to Garth, the Guardian, who is a Mayday trader that Agnes likes. And Garth, we find out Garth is getting promoted to Commander. And then Agnes's thought bubble is like, if he's promoted to commander, then he is eligible. And I could end up married to Garth. So that's basically where we end off here. I used to praise The Handmaid's Tale because of its pacing. Every time I would kind of start to get bored with it, they would give me like a what the fuck moment. That kept me watching like through the whole thing. I mean, or at the very least until like season 5 or 6 when I was too invested to stop that. I don't know, man. I don't know if this is gonna hook me the same, if I'm gonna follow through beyond season 1 or not. It's just, you know, I mean, yes, it's particularly brutal because of the fact that it's teenage girl. And no, I'm not saying it's okay because it was adults in the fucking Handmaid's Tale. Jesus Christ, don't be stupid. So, we are gonna get into the 14th installment of our ongoing miniseries on the Insurrection Act. Moving right along with it, and of course moving right into modern times. A little bit scary. Ooh. Yeah, turns out definitely can happen today. And there's a lot of really scary precedents that allow them to do some shit y'all ain't gonna like if they ever figure this out. So picture this. It's Hurricane Hugo, St. Croix, and 1989 Virgin Islands deployment. So a hurricane tears through the American islands, shreds homes and infrastructure, it knocks out normal communications, it leaves terrified residents just trapped in the dark. And the real nightmare starts. The looting spreads. Local order starts collapsing. Reports say people who are even supposed to maintain order are overwhelmed. And for the last times in American history, the president reaches for one of the bluntest tools in the federal toolbox, the Insurrection Act. Act. In September of 1989, Hurricane Hugo slammed into the Caribbean and hit St. Croix with a devastating force. The storm didn't damage just buildings, it shattered the system, made ordinary life possible. Power was gone, communications was crippled, supplies were uncertain, fear spread fast, and the chaos that followed, looting and disorder, broke out across St. Croix. This was not a classic rebellion against Washington. It was something more unsettling in its own way. Domestic disorder born of disaster, desperation, and institutional breakdown. See, a lot of people hear Insurrection Act and immediately think of civil rights showdowns, riots, or armed resistance. The Virgin Islands case reminds us of the laws broader than the name makes it sound. The act can be used when domestic violence or disorder obstruct the execution of laws and the local authorities cannot restore order on their own. In St. Croix, the federal government concluded that the threshold had been crossed. So on September 20th, 1989, President H.W. Bush issued Proclamation 6023. In it, he said conditions of domestic violence and disorder existed in and about the Virgin Islands, that life and property were endangered, and that the local law enforcement resources available to the territory, including the National Guard, were unable to suppress the violence and restore law and order. That same day, Bush issued an Executive Order 12690, authorizing units and the members of the armed forces of the United States to suppress violence and restore order in and about the Virgin Islands. In plain English, the president formally declared the breakdown serious enough that federal troops could be used inside American territory to restore order. Once the legal machinery was in motion, federal forces were deployed to St. Croix. Their role was not ordinary disaster relief. This was not passing out water and clearing roads. This was about reestablishing control. The point of the deployment was to stop the violence, protect life and property, secure federal functions, and create enough stability for civilian government to get its footing back. That distinction matters. Plenty of disasters bring in military under other authorities. The Insurrection Act is different because it opens the door for military involvement in law enforcement when the crisis is considered beyond the capacity of civilian authorities. Now, this example reminds us that the Insurrection Act is not just a war powers relic collecting dust on the legal attic. It's a live emergency authority that can appear whenever the president decides ordinary systems have broken down badly enough. And that should make people uneasy for two reasons. First, sometimes a real crisis absolutely does overwhelm the local institutions. Second, the law gives the president a huge amount of discretion when it comes to that line being crossed. The Virgin Islands deployment may look justified by the facts, but it also shows how much authority is concentrated in one office once the magic words, domestic violence, disorder, and inability to execute the laws, are invoked. So order was restored, but the episode left behind bigger questions than just whether the troops did their job. Why did the collapse of St. Croix become so severe? Why were local institutions unable to contain it faster? And what does it say about the structure of emergency response when the natural disaster can turn a law and order crisis requiring federal troops? That is the part people tend to forget. The soldiers are the dramatic image. Real stories are often the institutional failure that made the deployment possible in the first place. This episode is not about blue versus red or north versus south or even one mob against another. It's about what happens when a disaster strips away that thin layer of normalcy and exposes how fragile public order can be. In 1989, Hurricane Hugo battered St. Croix. The looting and disorder that followed pushed President H.W. Bush to invoke the Insurrection Act and send in federal troops. It was one of the last times the laws was actually used. And like every other entry in the series, it leaves us with another uncomfortable truth. Once leaders decide civil order has collapsed, the distance between civilian government and military force can get very short, very fast. All right, folks. That is going to do it for this segment on the Insurrection Act. I hope y'all enjoyed. I hope y'all keep watching. So I might as well get into this too while I'm at air, man. So apparently Trump fired the Secretary of the Navy, which, yeah, okay, that's a great sign, because, you know, that guy's not doing anything important right now. And the new Secretary of the Navy is a guy, no shit, named Hung Kao. What the fuck? And it's not even like he's a serious person with who had the rotten luck of a dumb name. No, he's crazy too. Like, look that dude up. He ran for like something in Virginia, Senate or some shit, and just like lost incredibly bad because he just like started talking about witchcraft and shit. That guy's now running the Navy, which is the predominant force currently fighting Iran. Honestly, lately this kind of starting to feel like that Rick and Morty episode where, you know, the two Beths are fucking, and Morty and Summer are just kind of like, nope, I just want to play my video games. Don't want to see. It is April the 25th. Not a whole lot going on today, but I do gotta admit, so got a little bit further in the Landman yesterday. I always love like those mob boss scenes, like the guy when he goes after the guy that beat the shit out of his kid. Gotta love that shit, you know. My buddies here, they're gonna beat the shit out of you, and then my buddy, the police officer, is gonna like find some shit to send you to prison for, and yeah, that's how that's gonna go. I always love that. But at the same time, I gotta be like, dude, really? Seriously? Did these jackasses not know that that was like the boss's son that they were kicking the shit out of? Because, like, I mean, once they go to confront him, he immediately knows, like, oh, that's the boss. So it's not like Billy Bob Thornton's character Tommy is like super high up that nobody knows. That, you know, these guys wouldn't know. So they're just like, yeah, we're gonna go like beat the fuck out of the boss's son, and there's not gonna be any repercussions. And then literally like the next night, like, oh, it's the boss, he's at our door. Derp. I'm not expecting Shakespeare out of this show. I'm more expecting like Breaking Bad, or yeah, Breaking Bad meets Fast and Furious, you know? Like, what if Breaking Bad was really stupid? I feel like that's kind of what this is. Alright, folks, so something else I wanted to talk about today. I saw this earlier. I thought this was both hysterical, but it's also pretty serious, like wrapped up in hysterical. So, gamers are suing Nintendo over the tariffs. And I mean, I didn't think that. Yeah, I bought a Switch 2 that they claimed was, you know, like, what was it, 700 or whatever the fuck? Yeah, 700 for that fucking thing? Or no, 500. Yeah, 500, and then I got a bunch of controllers and shit, so I don't fucking know. Anyways, the point is, it was more than it should have been because of those stupid fucking tariffs that the Supreme Court knocked down. Yeah, let's join in on this fucking lawsuit, because fucking, hey, man, this is gonna be some absolute horse shit. If all the tariffs that were definitely passed on to the consumer get refunded to the companies, and the companies don't lower prices, it's gonna be some horse shit, man. That money needs to make its way back into the people, man. Now I'll have to look into that. That's probably a class action lawsuit. It is April the 26th. And of course, the big news last night, the White House Correspondents Dinner. Apparently, a gunman got some shots off. And was taken alive. Well, alright. Number one, it is hysterical that, like, everybody is already like, yeah, okay, sure. You planned this shit. Honestly, I wouldn't surprise me if that was in the shooter's calculus at this point. What's even worse, it is so crazy how bad it is that, not gonna lie, like, my first thought when I heard this, I'm like, seriously, we're doing this again? You guys did this again? And on top of that, I'm gonna tell you right, I'm throwing this prediction out here right now. We're gonna find out that somebody put in like a poly market bet that there'd be a gun at the correspondence dinner or something like that. And we're gonna find out like that guy like either knew about this guy or it's some kind of government official. Because I mean, Jesus, at this point, like Trump assassination attempts are about to go the way of school shootings. Like, we're just like, yeah, whatever, we don't care. Did he succeed? I did see there's already something like it's a disillusioned Trump voter. Honestly, this time around, now, I would say that's very likely. That's a lot more likely than it was, like, the first time. The one they were trying to say he was a Trump supporter because, like, of signs in his yard, and it's like, dude, you're like, the kid was like 20. He doesn't own a fucking yard. It was his dad's signs. No, this time it would very much make sense to be a disillusioned Trump voter. It is April the 27th. Hey, yep, it looks like the stage assassination attempt was pretty successful. Everybody's just talking about that instead of the Epstein files or the Iran war. These people are fucking so retarded. Oh my god, and yeah, no, I don't believe a teacher bought a bunch of guns, drove across the country, and fucking, like, did all of this at the behest of Trump. I think he found some guy and then made up that backstory. But, you know, that's what's called a straw man fallacy. I feel like you might understand that. I could think of some other ones that you would understand that for, but about the only way this shit is real is like if there's just so damn many assassination attempts that statistically 3 of them get this close. Because holy shit, either that or, well, I don't know, we'd also point out maybe it wasn't a great idea to make like a podcaster the head of the FBI. I am not doing this because I hope to become the head of the FBI one day. Although, yes, I totally would take the job and use it for my own petty personal gain, but I would try not to fuck up other things while I'm doing that, you know? Like I have like a competent deputy director, like, alright, you go do stuff. And I'm gonna go take the jet to bang my girlfriend. The whole Stephen Miller thing is funny too, because, well, I've seen there's 2 pictures going around, and one of them looks like he's shielding his pregnant wife, and the other one looks like he's using her as a human shield. And in neither picture do I know where the shooter is relative to that. Because that's kind of the important information. Like, it's more like, if by shooter you mean the cameraman, then yes, in one of them it looks like he's shielding her from him, and in the other, it looks like she's shielding him. I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't make any difference, man. That dude's just a little fucking walking penis anyways. And then what? It was like 2,500 people. They're trying to say he wrote a manifesto that proves it's for real. Like, yeah, okay. I could write a manifesto with ChatGPT. Make it sound like I hate Trump. It's not very difficult to do. And then say somebody else wrote it. It's, again, like, what the fuck? Honestly, I hope the left goes like full Sandy Hook truther on this shit. Straight up. That'd be hilarious. Just watch old clips of Alex Jones talking about Sandy Hook and then just, like, say that and see if they pick up on it. I know, like, I would have. I would just like, I would have started watching old clips of people telling him he's full of shit. It is April the 28th this morning. Oh, just finished up watching The Daily Show. Jon Stewart gave his weekly Monday show, which is really the only episode normally worth watching. Glad to finally get his 2 cents in on this whole insane attempted assassination that was definitely staged, but, you know, the best argument against it being staged I've heard is like, that's so ridiculous that it would be staged. And it's like, yeah, have you been paying attention? This is a ridiculous administration. But no, the videos from it were absolutely amazing. From RFK Jr. being like, draped, like covered in a hive of Secret Service agents, large men, covering up and protecting, like, the dude who is, in probably the best shape there, able to handle himself best. And then his wife is behind, like, hey, don't forget about me. There's the guy that just sat there and ate his food. Like, yeah, whatever. I don't care. I don't know if I talked about it yesterday or not, so I'll just touch real quick there. I mean, like, I saw a bunch of stuff about Stephen Miller, and one of them claiming he was protecting his wife, and the other one proclaiming he was using her as a human shield. And the number one question that I had was, well, where is the gunman? Like, in relative to the picture, because, yeah, if the gunman is the cameraman, then, yeah, they both give 2 opposite sides. But, yeah, like, so I'm guessing he actually was protecting her, since Jon Stewart didn't make any jokes about it. Instead went with the whole, like, Stephen Miller is more chivalrous than you, RFK Jr. The shittiest part is the staged assassination attempt seemed to really work. We ain't even talking about the Epstein files or the Iran War. The Iran War that was supposed to distract us from Epstein. And now the staged assassination that's supposed to distract us from the war in Iran. All to get a fucking ballroom. I still can't believe that. Like, every right-wing influencer all at once came out like, this is why we need a ballroom. I don't want to be on the list that gets that stuff, but I would like to be in the loop, I'd like to be friends with a person on the list. Now, I was a little disappointed this morning, though, alright? I got all excited, so I get on Facebook and I check it out, and I'm checking the comments and everything. And, oh man, this guy in there, he's going hard, like, motherfucker. Okay, so I pose this thing, like, I stand with Jimmy Kimmel. Now, straight up, in case you don't know, Jimmy Kimmel made some joke at the dinner, like, right before the staged assassination attempt, about, like, Melania Trump, and how, like, I don't know, something like you look like a woman waiting to become a widow, or something like that. It really wasn't all that funny, if I'm being honest. So, and then Melania Trump, of course, is like, oh, he should be fired for insulting me or some shit, and Trump is all blah, 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 and I'm like, yeah, fuck that. Like, nope. So I post this thing, I stand with Jimmy Kimmel. As I say in the post, Jimmy Kimmel has not made me laugh since the fucking Man Show. And I'll be honest with you, the Man Show probably wouldn't make adult me laugh. There is no way at this point that either side can seriously claim the moral high ground when it comes to jokes, when it comes to violent and inappropriate jokes. Or any kind of reaction, really. I mean, civility's dead at this point, alright? Like, it is. It's gonna take, I don't know what it's gonna take. I mean, the problem is, like, Trump is, like, everything on the Republican side. So, everything he does is just reflective of the Republicans right now. But on the other hand, the Democrats almost have the opposite problem, where they don't really have any kind of representation. Like, who do you think of when you think of Democrats? That's still going. I mean, Chuck Schumer and AOC and Gavin Newsom. And Bernie Sanders is still plugging away. Chugging along there. All right? He's the only one I can say I've never really heard say anything ultra inappropriate. Bernie Sanders, he probably has, and I just haven't heard it because the man's been in government for like 40 years, so, you know, you say a lot of shit in that time period. Would actually be kind of ridiculous not to, have at least once. That would be suspect, in my opinion, but alright. I'm checking the comments on it, and they're the usual blah, 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 blah. And, one of them, though, is like, he says, you're a registered sex offender whose kids don't talk to him. And I'm like, I'm kind of getting excited. I'm like, oh, shit, motherfucker's going hard. All right, and you caught me at a great time. Just finished my coffee. Just started my Red Bull. All right, motherfucker, you want to play? Let's play. But yeah, unfortunately, then I clicked on his profile. Yeah, he had like 50 friends and only like 200 posts, and he's definitely a bot. Yeah. I was so disappointed. I thought I was gonna have a friend to play with this morning. Fuck. I mean, my name's unique, and it's called a sex offender registry. So, I mean, like, it's a registry. You can check this. Very easy. I would also point out I don't have children. I was disappointed that it wasn't a real person. Alright, folks, all this Trump talk's got me nice and fired up this morning, so why not? Let's take a moment here. We're gonna do a mini Tales from the Army. Woo! One of my just favorite quotes to puke at from the Army was always, in leadership, it's more important to sound confident in your answer than it is to be right. Now, I have to admit, like, I heard this back then. I thought to myself, boy, that's gotta be some of the dumbest ass shit I have ever heard. Who the frig would actually agree with this bullshit? Oh my god. Well, let me tell you what, I only really bring this up because, boy, Trump has got me rethinking that. Not gonna lie, he really does. Boy, there might be just something to that. I mean, this fucker could tell his supporters 2 + 2 = 5, and he would do it with the most confidence and conviction you'd ever heard anybody say. Like, he was fucking talking about the sky being blue. And in fact, he'll tell you the sky is orange while you're outside. And do the same thing. And these fucking people will believe it. And, I don't know, maybe it is just because he sounds very sure. And if I agree with this guy who sounds super sure, I can pretend the other people are retarded. The ones who are actually questioning him. Funny thing is I have tried to explain this to liberals before, too. And, of course, because they can't even let Trump have a backhanded compliment in the sense that he's confident. I love that I will often get the answer from liberals to this, like, he's not confident, he's just a con man. And I'm like, look up what the con in con man stands for. Alright, moving along, folks. It is April the 30th. I just finished episode 7 of, was it 7 or 8, I believe, of Landman. I believe it was 7. I just got to admit, man, this show does a wonderful job of making me hate all of the female characters. This is the part that stood out to me. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm like a victim of my autism again here, but so Tommy goes over to the house, you know, where his son's staying, who's already gotten the shit beaten out of him once over this woman, so he is understandably concerned. And he goes over there, has dinner, is like, I'm curious, what is this? Because, yeah, as far as I can tell, he's not, like, disrespectful or anything. But, man, does she just go off, like, I don't know what this is, and I'm not just using him to get by, and fuck you for judging me and all that shit, and get the fuck out. And then even at the end, it's just like, yeah, well, shit, what the fuck, man? I'm hoping that you do. Like, I don't know. I don't get it. That's not making me like the woman. And I'm pretty sure she's the one I'm supposed to like. Because I think for a little while I was supposed to like Rebecca, and now I'm supposed to not like her because she's been revealed to just be, you know, just basically be a young scumbag. Which again, like, I like that about shows when it's like, you know, everybody's a scumbag. Makes it so I don't feel bad when terrible things happen to them. God fucking damn is this show preachy too, man. You got like a whole part. There's a super hot, young friggin' girl in a swimsuit. I'm gonna assume the actress is at least like 20 something. I hope. But you know, and the teenage boy is just like, oh well, honey, let me take you time to explain to you why clean energy is actually bullshit. I'm like, yeah, because I'm pretty sure that's what they're gonna be doing. No. I feel like this must be what it would feel like. Say you're a Democrat, like not a crazy hard left liberal, but you know you don't want to burn the system down. You just kind of would like to tweak it so it's a little bit better. You know, that kind of Democrat. If you watch Landman, maybe like this is how like a normal Republican feels watching like other TV that like super preaches liberal shit. Of course, if you're a fucking crazy liberal, you won't fucking understand that and like don't waste your time. Of course, as always, then it's a good time. Take a moment to remind you. Make sure you're hitting that like, subscribe, follow button. Be clicking and commenting anything you want. You can tell me I'm brilliant, you can tell me I'm dumb. Trust me, I can take it. I am loving and definitely appreciate all the engagement as of late on Facebook. Hopefully that'll lead to some more expansions. Right now I am finally, like, I don't know, maybe a year after learning what it is, I finally am figuring out the whole RSS feed thing, so our reach should be expanding real soon. So that's much better. So we are going to, well, I mean, this would technically probably be the second of this, maybe even the third or fourth, who the hell knows, but it's the first official. Our new segment we're going to start doing here is going to be called the Blunt of the Week. Like I've said, man, I like to try variety, like to try all sorts of new stuff, but the problem is a lot of it sucks. And some of it's pretty fucking good. So, I'll save you some money. And I'll take the bullet for you. And I'll smoke the stuff first. And then I'll let you know if it sucks or if it's good. And if any of y'all local dispensaries see this and you want me to smoke your shit, I will do this. If you provide it for free. But for right now, if I'm picking out my own or paying it for myself, then I'm picking out my own and what's interesting to me. So last week, the Cherry Bomb was pretty awesome. So we got the same company, Sticky Fingers Sweet Tooth series. This time, we got Rainbow Drizzle. This is a hybrid. Okay, $30 for one of these. Got it at Crandy's in Messina as always. That's my spot. Let's crack her open. Yeah, you see it's got them diamond crazy frosting looking things on it, like the last one. I mean, the last one was like cherry something, and it smells like cherries, very profoundly like cherries. Does it smell like a rainbow, I wonder? What's a rainbow smell like? That's interesting. I mean, I'm not saying that smells like a rainbow, but it kind of makes me think of a rainbow when I smell it. So, alright. Okay, gotcha. Alright, Mr. Rainbow Drizzle. I get it. I get how you got to that name. Alright, let's smoke a little bit of this before I hit the ground. The frosting's getting all over my fingers. I mean, that's the only thing I don't really like, but I mean, I wouldn't like that. I guess I don't mind it because I probably wouldn't smoke something like this until the end of the day when I should, when everything's done. That's why I'm doing this like this late because, yeah, I had shit to do today earlier. It's making me cough, but it's not a horrible cough. It's not like uncontrollable. I think the cherry one was like that too. I do like that. Not a terrible reward creeping up on me for hitting this blunt. I gotta say, I do believe the Rainbow Drizzle will ultimately end up with a thumbs up from the Daily Dose of Dawn. That's, we just got a little bit into it, but that's definitely, that's a $30 joint. Definitely. Alrighty, folks. Yeah, I gotta admit, that is a thumbs up to Rainbow Drizzle from wherever the fuck it was here. Sticky Fingers Sweet Tooth series. Alright, folks, that is gonna do it for this episode. As always, keep up to date with what's going on with your Daily Dose of Dawn.